Good morning, dear friends. We're here to share with you some of the teachings of the Watchtower Society, uh, which we find very peculiar concerning today's beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses. And today we'll have the opportunity to study the Watchtower, and it is the April 1st, 1920. We'll go directly to the first article, and it's very interesting. Let us dwell in peace. We'll say some of the highlights. Its scripture here is Psalm 133, verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Before starting, I'd like to mention that it is one of the best articles concerning Christian liberty the Watchtower has ever written. You'll be surprised to see many of the things this article mentions concerning disfellowship or concerning Christian fellowship. You'll really be shocked. So, the first paragraph, it says, war between the beast and the lamb is now on, and the faithful followers of the lamb is necessity are engaged in the conflict. One of the methods of warfare on the part of the adversary is to stir up strife in the ranks of the Lord's followers. During the past 3 years, the experiences have been quite fiery, but no Christian is surprised at this. Beloved, be not surprised at the fire among you occurring to you for a trial, as though some strange thing was befalling you. So it definitely speaks about the crucial year 1917 up to 1919, when the Watchtower lost many members concerning their view on the new leadership. 1916 was the death of Pastor Russell, and many Bible students didn't accept the leadership of the new president, Joseph Rutherford. The left. So many of you who know about Jehovah's Witnesses and study with them, you know the story. A big part of the Watchtower Society was separated, and many witnesses left while they were called Bible students back then. So it was a fiery trial among the Lord's people back then. And this article is written to emphasize that no matter how many different views can be in Christian congregation, we can all dwell together in unity and harmonious body, as the first paragraph says, to dwell together in unity and proceed as one harmonious body. Well, the second paragraph, among others, says that loyalty is one of the divine requirements, and loyalty to the Lord means to be loyal to the members of his body. Now, let's look, what does this mean? Members of his body. Today's Watchtower says that there is only one body of Christ. This is true, but it is only in the Watchtower Society. And it combines two things together. Well, back then, God's organization was considered to be heavenly Zion. Even in Rutherford's day, they were strongly against organization, a visible organization. Well, Rutherford changed that in the end of his life, probably, but they would always emphasize that it is only a heavenly Zion, and the children of heavenly Zion are Christians. They can be in different denominations, they can get together, and they can be connected only with the truth, that it is the core of the Bible, rejection of the Trinity, rejection of the immortality of the soul, and this is the truth. So they can be all one body. And I don't have the time here now to analyze this, but we're going to see much more later in other videos. So let's go and see. So some of the opponents of the new president said that he was setting rules for disfellowship. Watchtower set rules for disfellowship if you didn't accept the 7th volume, for example, the finished mystery. as the seventh volume of Studies in the Scriptures. Or if you did not accept that the Watchtower and Bible Tract Society was a faithful slave, was the only one channel that was giving the truth, the absolute truth, to the members of God's household. So let's see this article, what suggests. So we have in the second column here certain points that are going to be discussed. And the first point says, our understanding is that the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, as a body corporate, is the servant of the church, we emphasize this, and does not exercise control and authority over the Lord's people. Interesting. This is quite the opposite from what's done today. Yes. Back then, Watchtower did not exercise control and authority, was mere a publishing house. And we're talking about 1920, was after Russell's death that his followers still have this view. So why not today? Let's go to the second. The basis for fellowship and unity in the church is our relationship to an earthly organization? No, to God through Jesus Christ and our harmony with the divine arrangement. It doesn't mention organization at all. At all. To God through Jesus Christ. You could be disfellowship, now. Just say this. I'm a Christian without Watchtower Bible Tract Society. Anyway. Number 3. There should be full liberty of conscience with no attempt to coerce the views of one by another. Full liberty of conscience. And it means Christian conscience, of course. Let's go to the fourth part. Church government should be maintained according to the word of the Master and the Apostles. No shepherding book, right? Okay. No organization book, organized to do Jehovah's will. And all should be willing to be governed by the majority. This is still done today, but anyway, this principle applies to separate ecclesias, congregations, and to the whole body of the church. So the church government should be always according to the Bible, the word of the Master, the word of the Lord, and the Apostles, and this is very true. Yes. Let's go to the 5th point. The society provides pilgrim service. Well, pilgrims, we can say that they were the circuit overseers of that time. So it provides pilgrim service for the ecclesias that request it. So if you don't request it, you will not have a circuit overseer visiting you. That's the opposite of what's done today. Again, number 6. The society has no authority to determine the qualifications of the officers of the various ecclesias, but it has authority to determine the qualifications of those who shall constitute, excuse my English, it's the society's officers or servants, and the sole authority to determine who shall constitute its officers and representatives. So the society has no authority to determine who's going to be an elder in your congregation. This is what Rutherford says. But it has authority to determine the qualifications of the people who serve the society. Okay, yes, this is their right. Well, if we read the Bible, the first Christian congregation elected the elders independently, without someone going and telling them what to do. Well, the Watchtower Society uses the example of Timothy and Titus as a partner, but the secret overseer is responsible for electing elders, but this is wrong because Apostle Paul sent Timothy and Titus there to solve difficult problems that the churches, for example, the Church of Crete, had, and that's why they had to elect some faithful men as elders or help in their election, but they were not authorized. The apostles were not authorized to be the masters of the authority of each congregation. They had the right to elect their own elders. Even when some elders opposed Paul, Paul did not disfellowship them or to make them lose their privileges, as we said now. No. And number 7, the motive governing all actions in the church or between individual members should be love. Okay, love. Now, of course, we'll not see the whole Watchtower today. We can see some of it, but I strongly encourage you, if you're very interested in Jehovah's Witness beliefs and theology, you can read this article. I'm going to put the download down in the description. It's very important. I promise that you've never read something like this before. So let's start with the second actually subtitle, the channel. I'm reading it. Some of the brethren have held that the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is the channel used by the Lord for dispensing or transmitting the message of present truth to the household of faith. Some of the brethren, not all, some of Jehovah's Witnesses back in the 20s, okay, held this view. Others have taken exception to this statement and have insisted that the society is assuming a position that it is unscriptural and contrary to the divine arrangement. So other Jehovah's Witnesses rejected the idea that the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society was the only one channel that the Lord was using back then to give truth. We think the governing body of 1920, if we can say that there was something like very similar to it, we think that difference of opinion has been due entirely to a misunderstanding. Hence, we here consider the question with the hope of clarifying it. Let's listen to them, how they will clarify it. A channel is properly defined as that through which anything passes, means of passing, conveying, or transmitting, as the news was conveyed to us by different channels, Webster. In other words, it is a vehicle or means of transmitting truth. The channel itself does not originate the truth, but it is merely used as a means to an end. It does not originate the truth. Okay, let's continue. Page 100. In order to understand the divine arrangement and whether or not the Lord in the harvest period was said to be from 1874, according to Russell, up to 1918, or we can say today from 1914 up to the end of the system, or up to, I think, Great Tribulation, I'm not so sure, but this is the harvest period, has had a channel or a vehicle for transmitting his message to the church. Let us first determine the following questions. So let's understand the divine arrangement. Question number 1. Do we believe that Jesus Christ is present and has been for the past 40 years or more directing the work of setting up his kingdom? Number 2. Do we believe that the Lord chose an earthly representative, that is Charles Taze Russell, of course, to set the household of faith, one wise and faithful servant whom he made ruler over the household, and that the person is chosen was Charles Taze Russell? Number 3. Do we believe that the Lord directed Bell Russell during the time of his service in what he did with reference to carrying out the Lord's work? So, of course, Russell was Christian. Russell was a very faithful man. Okay, we don't reject that, most of us. But what we reject is people who continue teaching human creeds over the Bible. Russell did many mistakes too, but at least he was sincere in many things. But we can see something opposite working inside the Watchtower now. The purpose of a society. Let's continue a bit more. We assume that everyone in present truth, realizing that his knowledge of present truth comes from the Lord, through the ministration of his servant, will answer the foregoing questions in the affirmative. And answering them in the affirmative, we have a basis from which to consider the question as to whether or not the society is the channel used by the Lord, as above suggested. No one present truth for a moment doubts that Brother Russell filled the office of the faithful and wise servant, etc. He organized the society shortly after he began his work, but not until 1884 was it incorporated. Without a doubt, he saw there was a probability of the work being carried on after his change. And while he was on earth, he personally directed everything. On December 13, 1884, the charter was granted, and It is manifested from the language used by Brother Russell that he expected our society to constitute his successor to carry on the work after he had finished, and which was committed to him personally. Now, consider this thing here. In October 1, 1909, issued the Watchtower, he published an article dealing with that servant, and among other things, there are said, I'm not going to read it all, I'm going to read this. They admit that there is no question that a remarkable service has been rendered, and hence that it is indisputable by any who believe that there is a harvest work in progress, and that the society has been a servant of the harvest message in a most profound and peculiar sense, and if they dispute that, it has filled Matthew 24:45 as being that servant. So Russell died, and the society took his place as that servant. Okay. He furthermore said that it is with the Lord and with no one else to determine who and when and what shall be provided for the household of faith, and for him equally to decide whether he will send that spiritual food through one channel or through many channels. So it could be one channel or it could be many channels of truth. Let's continue. They urge that all who are hungering and thirsting after truth, all who are looking to the Lord for their supply, all who are in a proper attitude of mind, meek and teachable, will be ready to say, Lord, thy will be done in thy way. Okay, they will be done, yes, and our prayer is they will be done. Let's see what they urge. They urge, furthermore, that all who cut loose from the society and its work, instead of prospering themselves, or upbuilding others in the faith and the grace of the Spirit, seemingly do the reverse, attempt injury to the cause they once served, and with more or less noise, gradually sink into oblivion. This is what Russell says about people who are leaving the society. Okay, so God can have many channels, but this channel is the best. This is what this Watchtower says. Now, order of God. This is very interesting. Order is a divine arrangement. Do you believe that there is any work for the saints due to after the change of Brother Russell? Now here's Rutherford speaking, probably. To this question, doubtless, all the saints would answer in the affirmative. Then would it not be logically follow that the Lord would carry on his work in an orderly manner, so in an organized manner? If he had ever considered the society as a channel, servant, vehicle, or means of transmitting the truth, is there any reason, scriptural or otherwise, to conclude that he has adopted and organized a separate or different channel, and if so, what is it? The mere fact that he would continue to use the society as this channel would not mean that others would not, in harmony with the society, have no truth. This is interesting. So I'm reading it again. The mere fact that he would continue to use the society as his channel would not mean that others not in harmony with the society have no truth. This is shocking to all Jehovah's Witnesses. They may have much truth. They may have much truth. So they can have truth. Christians from other denominations, they can have much truth, even if they're not in harmony with society, with Watchtower society. This is what the Watchtower says in 1920s. The whole question is, are all those in the truth working together in harmony? We would have no quarrel with anyone who wants to seek truth through other channels. We would not refuse to treat one as a brother because he did not believe the society is the Lord's channel. This is also shocking. We will not refuse to treat one as a brother because he did not believe that society is the Lord's channel. We will not disfellowship a man, a brother, because he doesn't believe the Watchtower is the Lord's channel. Yes, very shocking. And Brother Russell said and published something similar. If something they can get as good as better provender at other tables, it means spiritual tables, or that they can produce as good as better themselves, let these take their course. All who feel dissatisfied with the spiritual food which our great Master has privileged us to send broadcast to every nation should certainly be looking anywhere and everywhere for something better. Our wish for them is that they might, and something better, might find something better. If we were dissatisfied ourselves, or if we knew where something better could be obtained, we certainly, at any cost, would seek it. Okay, we'll stop here. So, Watchtower Society said that, okay, we are the best channel, but if you find something better, you can go there and tell us too. Yes, tell us too, and you will not be disfellowshipped. We will treat you as a brother. We'll treat the same as a brother because you did not believe the Society of the Lord channel. Interesting. Okay, dear friends, thank you for listening, and write your comments. You can find our little group of study, jwbiblestudents.org, and it would be very interesting to see how we study the Bible. We still use Watchtower material, but only the material that it is based on the Bible. And we have certain different opinions from the Watchtower. We're still Jehovah's Witnesses in organization, but we use our Bibles to prove certain points. Thank you for listening again, and may God bless you.